I thought there might have been something wrong with me, because everyone, the BBC, Sky News, all of our institutions, the government themselves, wanted us to remain in the European Union. They leafleted every single house in the country, cost them £6 million or £9 million or something like that. And they sent leaflets to every single household in the country to say to us, we think you should vote to stay in the European Union. And the vote was close. So it was 52% to leave, 48% to remain. So it was really tight. And then, of course, once the vote had happened, people just dug in even further. And I think almost immediately, the next prime minister is due to be a man called Keir Starmer. And he actually led the calls at the time for a second vote. We didn't win the first one, so he wanted to vote again. It was I hated every moment of it, because it was the most undemocratic thing you could possibly do. We just had a massive debate, massive country debate. Everyone had voted. We finally made a decision, and because it didn't go their way, they wanted to have another vote.
That's fascinating. I just stumbled upon an old video I edited back when I was going through all of this in my mind. And I was thinking, should I ever do anything with this? And I buried it out of fear. Perhaps I'll release it sometime now that we're talking about it. I can provide some context. I would like to tell you the story about it, though, because it really reminds me of that. And it was the night that Donald Trump was elected. I had not woken up to anything that I shouldn't even say I've woken up, but before I even started entertaining any idea that I could be wrong about anything. And I had my camera, because I was studying film, like I was a freelance videographer, and I was in the streets, and they were marching in the Boston Common. And they were chanting, hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go. He had been duly elected. He was the president. It was solidified. And I have this footage that felt, you could feel it looked like a riot about to explode. There were police at the State House in the Boston Common. I have footage of them standing up there. I should probably release this at some point. And
there was a meltdown.
It was a meltdown.
A huge meltdown.
And here's my question is, how is that different than what you were just describing, where there's been a vote, and right? And now
it was exactly the same. Honestly, the way you're describing that could have been exactly the same the day after we voted to leave. The media were in mourning. Like they had the lights down in the studio, and they were talking about, we're the first country to have left the union in 40 plus years. We've made a big decision, and they were literally crying. And same with the denial from Trump, people who hated Trump. There's that famous meme, isn't there, of the woman who's just
It was like that. It was like that. I have never seen that's why I filmed it. Now you have one side of the political aisle saying it is so wrong to question the results of an election. And I'm not going to try and take a position on that. What my logical issue is the fact that now one group has an issue when they just did it. And I have it on camera. I was there. I saw it. And it was heated. So you don't say that they were more heated. Yeah, they went in and there were some things that happened as well. But
they spent the whole Trump term basically saying that he was you had Hillary Clinton saying that he was an illegitimate president. Democrats were just as bad. They spent the entire time trying to get him on Russian collusion.
One thing after another, and they still haven't stopped.
And they still haven't stopped. So, and that kind of, and my personal feeling, totally. My personal feelings towards Trump when I initially saw Trump was, I don't like the guy. He doesn't fit the mold. And my initial reaction was that I didn't quite like him. But as time went on, and I am a bit of a sucker for the underdog, it's a bit of a British trait, but as time went on, I felt sorry for him. Like, they just kept, it was relentless in the media, on the radio. It was just constant. Anyone who's dipping their toes in American politics at that time, everything was wall to wall, hate Trump. Why do they hate Trump?
Let's get specific.
Let's get specific. Let's look at his policies. Let's understand. Do I think he's racist? Is he a misogynist? And I went through each of the claims and tried to work out whether they were true. Yeah. And I ended up
good people on both sides. It's a classic one where it is taken, and I've had this conversation so many times where it's taken at face value. but it can clearly be, it's just simply, it can be clearly disproved. And I'm not trying to take a position politically on Trump at all. I'm just trying to call out logical fallacies where I see them. There's something very interesting about what you were saying about the underdog. And why is that? You know, and I think because it's true. It's, and with these new,
They're weaponizing the entire
the
legal
more they do,
system against
exactly.
us.
So we've seen a surge in the polls recently with the indictments, and the more they've laid on, we've seen that there's clear data showing growth. So there is
Yeah,
clear
yeah.
identifiable pattern.
And it was predictable, right? Is that people who were commentating on this, not just me, I said exactly the same time, and you don't have to be a genius to say it. You could work out, I think, prior to them doing this is why I thought the Democrats were absolutely nuts for doing it, is they'd obviously stored up a lot of this, all of this legal stuff that they were going to throw on Trump right at this particular point. It was clearly timed. And I just thought to myself, the people aren't going to buy it. They're just not going to buy all of this stuff. It's going to look like the Democrats are just going after Trump and they're going to use the legal system against him. That was my knee-jerk reaction. So I thought it was quite easy to work out what was going to
But the
happen.
people that are going to buy it are the people that already want to buy it.
Made their minds up.
That's the problem. So that we're not getting, I don't know. I would be curious if there was data to show how much shift there was, changing of your mind.